I'd like to talk about shaping objectives. For curved canal preps, okay? As you know, I divide roots into small roots, medium and large roots. Small roots are lower incisors, multi-canal premolars, buccal roots of upper molars, meso roots of lower molars. Those are going to have a smaller shaping objective. My choice is an 06. Some would choose an 04. That seems a little bit small to me, so this is really the one I prefer for small canals. We used to say that you want a 6 or an 8. Turns out we don't need an 08 taper, and if there's a hidden curvature in a small canal, trying to horse an 08 taper, which is a lot stiffer than an 06, around these buccal lingual curvatures and meso roots of lower molars, for instance, you're going to have more separations. For medium and large root canals, those are maxillary anteriors, lower cuspids, single canal premolars. The medium roots are the palatal roots of upper molars and distal roots of lower molars. I'm going to go with an 08 taper for those. Used to be recommending 08s or 10s or even 12s. I'll still use a 12. For large apical diameter cases, but for the most part, I am not using these. I'm going to depend on an 08 taper to be the taper of choice there. Now, this is less taper than we used to place, and that's because our preparation procedures are much more accurate now. Before, we had to do serial step back where we had a 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, and we throw some gauge Glidden burrs in there. Okay, every one of those had to fit to a different place, precise different place in the root canal. And so serial step back shaping, as we knew it then, was a bit of an art form. When we went to using landed blades with variable tapers, we found out that the inherent irregularity of this step back technique that required a greater taper to make sure we had the taper going all the way to the end of the root canal. Now that we're doing this with a single file going to length, when you have a single file making the whole final length, then we know exactly what that shape is. Because it's made the whole length, we can get away with a lesser taper and have the same apical accuracy. So 0.06 for the small ones, 0.08 for the large ones. If you're using GT or GTX files, those files taper until they hit a maximum flute diameter of 1 millimeter, and then the shank is smaller. They leave a more parallel coronal shape in long roots, but that's okay because we only need apical taper. Herb Schilder's classic paper on shaping root canals and dental clinics of North America talked about the need for continuous tapering preparations through the length of the root canal. I would offer an addendum to that. Depending on the length, you only need the taper in the apical third. If you have the rest of it parallel and it's large enough size to adequately irrigate, fit cones, and obturate through, then you've got all the coronal opening that you need. Let me make one more statement. So with the GTX technique, that means for small canals, it's really easy. It's a 20, 06, 30, 06, or a 40, 06 file you're going to finish with, and you'll figure that out by gauging. Gauging. We'll talk about that some other topic. And the medium and large roots, they only have two choices, a 30-08 or a 40-08. Okay, I start with a 30-08. In palatal roots of upper molars, distal roots of lower molars, usually it's a one file shape. For the large canals, I usually need to finish with a 40-08.